This is our second episode. I am your host, Eric, and with me are my two co-hosts, Anthony and Nat.
Howdy.
Hey.
What's up? We've been doing a lot of pre-talking. Anthony's internet, of course, is trying to ruin the show, but we will persevere.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Got that mountain internet.
What do you do? You go up to the mountain. You kind of realign your antenna slightly to the left, come back down the mountain, and see if it actually fixed it.
I'm at the top of the mountain, so pretty sure I'm at the I'm slightly below my neighbor at the end of the line, and I think whenever they're watching Netflix, there's just no more internet for me.
No.
Oof.
So, but there's a maintenance request, so they will hopefully fix that.
Oof.
What, net in 6 months?
Now I'll be real. My parents live up in the mountains, and they only get cell service or internet if there aren't clouds blocking the cell tower that they can see from there on the mountain, like in the distance.
I'm gonna say it. That is not a problem that I see.
I know
happening for me ever. I'm sorry. I will never be in an area where I have to go ahead and worry if for cloud cover to be able to go ahead and reach somebody. No, absolutely not. Oh
yeah,
God.
it's something.
How's the week been going, guys?
It's been going good.
Yeah.
I have blown 1,069 leaves.
You counted them? Obviously.
Of course.
Oof.
Buddy, you need something to do?
Hey, that's a lot of leaves.
That's a lot of leaves.
Oh my God.
And it's just started.
Oh no.
The season begins, my friend.
Yeah. Welcome to fall.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, they're all falling.
I know.
I literally blew the deck. It was clean. My wife gets home. All you can see is leaves on the deck.
Oh no.
God.
Oof.
It was like 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours of blowing leaves, man. Welcome to the north. Yeah. I mean, you got to pay for those pretty seasons somehow, right?
Yeah, pay for it with tourists that don't know how to drive.
Ah, Jesus. Well, before we go ahead and descend into comparing traffic, what are we drinking today?
Oh yeah, for just to remind everybody, if nobody knows, this is a podcast about drinking fine spirits and talking about gaming between three friends. And today, each episode will have a fun thing to drink. And this week, we were able to all acquire the Maker's Mark 46 Cask Strength, which is a 2023 limited release. And for anybody that doesn't know, Maker's Mark is a Beam Suntory product. Now initially, Bill and his wife Marjorie. Yeah, everybody has the red label bottles except for me. I could only get the small limited edition bottle. Not by choice. Not by choice.
That I haven't opened it yet. I've had mine for a while waiting.
Oh yeah, I am just opening mine as well.
Yeah, me too.
Now, if anybody doesn't know,
I already took it off. Okay, I didn't drink from it. But I couldn't stop myself. As soon as I bought it, I had to open it. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh! Now, if anybody doesn't know, so Maker's Mark initially was done by a guy named Bill and his wife. I believe it was Marjorie. Marjorie, if I remember correctly. Bill Samuels and his wife. And funnily enough, he was very quick in the process. So he actually made bread with the ingredients first to figure out what he wanted to do for his mash bill or his whiskeys. And he actually found, by making all this bread, that red winter wheat, corn, and malted barley were the way to go. So all of the Maker's Mark line is all done with red winter wheat, 16%, corn 70%, and 14% of malted barley. And he really loved the flavor profile of the red winter wheat. And all of the Maker's Mark drinks have that same mash bill. Now, the thing that's special about the 46 is this was actually done by his son, Bill Samuels Jr. And Bill Samuels Jr. added French oak staves, and there's a particular stave profile that he found that was that he really liked, and he finishes the original Maker's Mark with 10 French oak staves. And of course, this leads, so just so everybody knows, this leads to the base Maker's Mark French number 46, which I have right here. Now, this is the white label.
Of course, he has the first one.
Well, initially, I didn't think I was going to be able to get the Cask Strength, so I got the initial one just to, go along. But I have the normal 46 bottle because of that. And this particular release is just the Cask Strength version of that. And you'll notice it's actually got a little bit more of a red hue to it than the base French oak. I can kind of see that. It's a little darker. But a pretty nice color, actually.
Yours is real pretty, actually.
Yeah, the Glencairn really... Now, wait a second. Do you not have a Glencairn?
No, I do not.
What?
We gotta change that.
Oh my gosh!
I'll have to fix it later. Leave me alone. Okay, I get it. I know. I'm butchering my experience, but hey, look.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
Okay.
Glasses are on their way. But anyway.
Now, funny enough, Maker's Mark was one of the distilleries we did not get to go to on our recent trip to Kentucky.
Yeah, what happened with that?
It was a little far away from Louisville.
Yeah.
We
Maybe
almost went to it. Oh yeah,
on the next one we
we'll
might
go.
spend a lot of time away from Louisville if we desire.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's Louisville is like the start point for the Bourbon Trail for like day 1 and 2, and the Bourbon Trail is 14 days long.
Wow.
You got 12 days worth of bourbon outside of Louisville.
And how many breweries? Oh my God. How many distilleries is that, like, a day?
Ooh, if you're actually doing the Bourbon Trail, it's a lot.
Yeah, like I don't know. I've been kind of like tipsy on whiskey on this before. It's not fun. So definitely hydrate.
I think
everybody.
that there are apparently 46 distilleries that take part in the Bourbon Trail.
46, Jesus. Okay,
And
well, we're at the
trail.
beginning.
Yeah.
Wait, should we go on the trail like pretty much like through this entire podcast? I mean, this is the very beginning of the trail, right?
I was about to say, I don't think this is the start of the trail. We did the start of the trail. It was at the museum.
Oh,
that we went to.
That's the beginning.
That's the beginning.
Okay.
Wait, don't you got a fridge magnet that says this is the start?
I did, but I didn't perceive.
Okay? Oblivious.
For those who are not seeing me, I did a forehead rub and a tap. I did not remember. So
and then it was hammered for the rest of the trip.
You thought we were about to be bar hopping, and then you were like, "Wait a second."
Yeah, dude. Oh my God, so much better.
You were having a moment.
Oh yeah,
you're like, "This is amazing."
Just for anybody who isn't aware, these two fine gentlemen were at my bachelor party. Anthony and I knew how the bachelor party was going to go. We were going to drink fine whiskey and travel to different distilleries. Nat proceeds to text me and say, "Why the fuck are you bringing me to Kentucky?" And of course, being the wonderful friend that I am, I told him nothing and just expected him to be in Kentucky. And so he showed up thinking bar hopping and strippers, and what he got were Glencairn glasses and thousands of dollars of whiskey.
And a very friendly, burly man with a massive beard that we came to know very
well. Oh, that was dope. Oh my God. Yeah. No, I will say probably best bachelor party I've been on, period. Even better than mine, honestly.
Oh,
I
hell
will
yeah.
say. So yeah, real cheers, friends.
Cheers
All
to
right,
that.
so I've chewed this.
So, yeah, I get a lot of that corn flavor, but
Absolutely.
I find that it has a very spicy or black pepper front to it with a little bit of sweetness
At the back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the finish,
A little chocolatey.
I could see that a tiny bit. Like that sweetness
at the end.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. I just read the tasting notes for this. But
they mentioned that this basically smells like red oak because it smells like red oak.
Oh, amazing. When I opened the bottle, that's all I could smell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I definitely get some of that, a lot of cinnamon style of flavors.
Okay.
Right? Like almost like a little bit spicy but sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a little bit dry at the end, but not in a terrible way. It's not very woody.
Not like a gin or anything like that. Yeah, it's still it waters my mouth, if anything. Like the bitterness is there, but I definitely feel as if the taste of the chocolate causes my mouth to salivate at the very end. Definitely.
And I think the more I drink it, the more I get those chocolate like flavors.
Yeah. I don't get vanilla on this one though.
Yeah, I would say I don't get a lot of vanilla. There is some sweetness there, but I think I attribute it to other flavor profiles instead of vanilla. Yeah. Like more sweetness from cinnamon or chocolate.
Funnily enough, now that you're talking about vanilla, I've been struggling to smell the whole time, and now I feel like I can smell vanilla.
Shut up. No, Anthony.
I know. It's weird how that works. I mean, maybe it's more almond.
I definitely get a lot of that corn on the nose, the corn sweetness
as well. Yeah.
Corn with like a little bit of like pepper.
It kind of smells like almond milk to me.
Almond milk? Anthony, did you just recently have like a bowl of cereal or something like that? Because you must be taking the piss.
This morning.
I could
almond milk. Okay.
I may be able to pick up hints of like earthiness from the wood.
Like a little bit. But like I if I was gonna point to three things, I would say corn, red oak, and chocolate. That's what I would define this by.
I would tend to do the same. So
I think my favorite part is just the long-lasting mouthfeel after each.
Yeah, I agree. It has a nice mouthfeel for quite a significant period of time. I think it definitely at the lower price point. I feel like the Cask Strength does very well for that.
How much does it come in at?
So MSRP is right around 60. I think you're going to be hard pressed to find it for 60. I think for the 300 milliliters I paid, because I had to buy the 3-bottle special edition or whatever it was, it ended up being like $40 for 300 mil. Which is, what is that, 70, 80 bucks for the bottle?
75, I think.
Yeah. So I paid a little bit over MSRP. I think finding it online, you might be able to find it. I think the biggest problem is that this released and really ran out, like in Georgia especially, hard to find.
Yeah. I will say in Texas, this was very challenging. I had to run this down into a higher higher profile neighborhood and go to their specs, and they had like 4 or 5 in the back of the shelf to go ahead and pick up. So it was one of those like clutch cases where I was like, I need this, and they were like, well, we got 4 of them.
I got to buy it straight at MSRP, and thanks to buying it from the North Carolina government.
I mean,
since they
North Carolina does that.
All of the stores.
Yeah,
and I happen to live in like Baptist country, they don't drink.
Oh
Shelves
man,
full of this bottle.
Man, that's lucky. You're living the dream. I
you
mean,
came out there, bud.
you just have to sacrifice consistent internet, I guess, and you get all the bourbon you want.
For now, we're getting fiber here.
Okay, yeah. Then you'll be good.
How are you getting fiber on the mountain?
They just use really good trucks.
You know what? I just don't want to. Never mind. Let's move on to the next topic. I don't want to hear anymore. I'm sick of you.
I can't remember if I said it or not, but the bottle design down to the last detail was all done by the wife, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Marge did all of it from the wax topper, which Maker's Mark is known for the wax design.
Mm-hmm.
So
mm-hmm.
I definitely think
that they get to dip it.
Oh,
Isn't
that's
that right?
I don't know, but that's
yeah.
That sounds dope.
People who visit the Maker's Mark distillery, if they get to make their own bottle, they get to dip the wax and apply the label and everything. So like how we did it at Angel's Envy, same thing.
That is awesome.
It was really good.
Now, how would you rate this? I mean, we got to start giving.
Or me?
Go ahead.
Okay. I would give this. Hold on, Eric. Do you want to go ahead and go first? Let me go ahead and make sure I'm getting everybody's order in before I go.
Okay. I definitely think without the cask strength, this would be a hard sell for me. I am definitely one who loves a little bit of heat, so this is right up my alley. There's a lot of heat in the cask strength here, and I think if you don't like the heat but still want the same flavor profile, definitely go for the non-cask strength. But I definitely don't think the non-cask strength would be for me. I think the bitter aftertaste overstays its welcome just a bit for me. I would love to see it die into something more complex at the end. You know?
Rise like a phoenix.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, a lot of people in the show probably don't know, but my favorite whiskey is the Redbreast line. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah. And the 27, one of the reasons it is my favorite whiskey right now so far is that it is so diverse in how it changes throughout the flavor profile. And I think the ending note of this one is one that I would love to see transform just a little bit into maybe some vanilla or sweetness, or maybe into some dried fruits, or even come back with more of that chocolate flavor at the end would be really nice. But up front, I really, really like it. Right up my alley. So I think I'd probably put this one at like a 7 out of 10 or so.
Gracious.
6.5, 7 out of 10.
Okay. You kind of flip-flopped after I said something, but okay. No, I'm joking. Oh God. Okay, I'll go next. I will say this is definitely also a very hard sell for me. Whenever I look at bourbon now, I'm looking for intensity, but I'm also looking for depth of taste. There is not a lot for me to plumb in terms of the flavors for this one. Like it's pretty simple, and for a lot of people that's easy. I mean, like there's a lot of things that you can vary in there. You can kind of increase the amount of spice there is. You can increase the amount of decrease the amount of corn taste that you might be having. Maybe you want more. I don't know why you would want more, but maybe you want more. And for me, I would say that this is pretty by the book in terms of like what bourbon should taste like. But for me, I'm gonna need a little bit more for me to make this into my daily driver. The chalk,
yeah. That's a good point for me too. I think for the amount of effort and price point of this particular whiskey, I know so many whiskeys at the $70 price point that I'm going to choose over this one, I think.
That could swing could really swing against this and be like, no, I mean, there's depth to me as well as the price point. So for me, because of the fact that there is that bitterness that kind of stays at the end, there's a bit of chocolate at the end, but really nothing else for me there. And then for the middle, it's mostly just heat and corn right off the bat. I'd give this a 6. On a bad day, maybe a 5. Yeah,
reasonable. Anthony?
Well, I'm glad I went last.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, save the best for last.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Because you know how I usually pour too much?
Mm-hmm.
I was about to give him way too big of a rating before I heard you.
He was like, this is a 9 out of 10. This is the best swill I've ever had.
I'd give it a 7.7 out of 10.
Really?
So, and it's probably because when I started drinking bourbon, I actually got a lot of advice from a colleague of Eric and I's named Brent, who's an awesome person who would probably love to be on the podcast someday. That would be cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. Once we have guests, I have so many that I want to invite.
Yeah, he introduced me really to bourbon when I drank something at like a work event, and I was like, this is smoky, this is amazing. And then I asked him, because he seemed to know everything about it, and he told me, start with Maker's Mark and Woodford's Reserve as like your go-to bourbons that aren't terribly expensive, but they're not cheap and they're not bad. You know, they're good enough, basically. And of those two, I've always chosen Woodford's Reserve over Maker's Mark, because Maker's Mark, it's not bad, but it's just not quite as good as Woodford's Reserve for me. And this is the first time that I've drank Maker's Mark, and I've been like, I like this. This is great.
So
heck yeah. And feel is really important for me. And since the feel is there and the flavor, I agree. There's not much flavor. You know, I was able to smell that like almondy vanilla earlier, but I can't smell it anymore.
It's because I said it. And what's that called when you say it and you have to immediately think it. Yeah. But go ahead.
My first impression of it was amazing. I opened the bottle. It smells like the cask it just came out of. That just makes me happy. And yeah, there's not a ton of flavors in it, but it has a really, really great experience, and that's what I'm all about. So 7.7 out of 10.
I can see that. I respect that. I definitely think there is something to be said about the smell, especially once you have the empty glass and you go back and smell it.
Oh yeah.
It has that corn oak smell to it that's really nice. And I do think the mouthfeel is something to be desired. And I think we'll be able to find some, especially at this price point, that have similar mouthfeel, smell experience, but also provide you with a little bit more depth of character that I think you'll really enjoy too.
Yeah.
But I think when comparing it, and you know what? It might be the 46 too that's doing it for you. The French oak staves are supposed to really kind of lighten up the harsh flavors that Maker's Mark tends to have from just its base product, which I think makes it a more approachable selection for sure.
Definitely. I would say to kind of add on to what Anthony has already mentioned. Again, yes, this is a great kind of starter bourbon to go ahead and pick up and be able to start picking up on the notes. Like if they had given this to us in the museum, I'd have been like, oh yeah, totally. I'm pretty sure they may have. I'm not even sure, but
it did not.
I don't know, man. Ever since we started doing this whole bourbon thing and like really starting to taste things, like taking time, if I encounter anything that's just kind of baseline or like there's no pulse, if that makes any sense. There's no climax, there's no denouement, there's nothing. Then it's harder for me to just be like, oh, I'm just sipping this. I'm trying not to compare it to New Riff because
oh man, it's hard. It's hard.
It's really hard.
You were ruined by your first sip of the bachelor party. I mean, that's terrible.
I don't know, man. I'm just a sugar plum fairy who likes spearmint and plums in their freaking whiskey. What can I say? I don't know what happened to me.
And that barrel select for the New Riff was a great one.
Oh my
God. For sure.
Don't talk to me about it. I can't find it anywhere. Anyway. So, I cannot be bothered. Oh, man. All right. That's the end of it.
But
not bad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is a bad pickup. I wouldn't give this like a 2 or a 3 or anything like that. But yeah.
Yeah, totally I definitely think it is a super approachable, drinkable whiskey for sure. There is nothing unpleasant about this whiskey.
No.
I think if you have the opportunity to get the cask strength for MSRP, it is definitely worth a pickup.
Mm-hmm.
If you have already had the 46 and you like the 46,
this is up your alley.
I think you kind of have to try the cask strength and kind of build up to that. If it's a little too harsh for your palate, adding a drop or two of water might open up the flavors even more. But
get you some fat ice, you know.
Yes.
Get you that nice fat ice, baby. Go to a local bar, give $200 to the barkeep, and just reach into his refrigerator and pull out 3 just golden eggs of ice and be like, yes, I'm going to sip my whiskey off of this for the next 2 years.
Oh, man. And
I would love to have some fat ice though.
Yeah, I can. I carve my own ice for that very reason.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I have an ice maker coming in at some point, but
okay. So we all know who to go ahead and talk to ship us ice whenever we get to the point where we can afford it. Got it.
Yeah.
Tight. Cool. Any other final notes on the Maker's Mark?
No, just a great whiskey. Feel free to try it out.
Yeah,
and I think that'll segue us perfectly into our ad break. Well, that's right. We have no ads. Please sponsor us.
I was like, wait, what? He got me. I was like, oh, we're like serious. Ad break? What the hell? Is it Manscaped? What happened?
Oh man.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do the segue, my guy.
I do have some good news on this though. Apparently the lights broke tonight at my event that I was supposed to go to, so we have all the time for the podcast apparently. So nice. We'll segue in. Anthony, my dude, what have you been playing this week or the past few weeks since the last time we talked?
It's been a while.
So, of course, I've been playing a little bit of Trackmania just because that's the game that I'll just kind of like
die on the hill for.
Kind of rest my brain a little bit on, honestly. It's just short and sweet. Open it up, try to conquer some things. What's interesting about it is every season, literally 4 seasons, so there's a summer season right now, they release 25 new tracks. And this season they changed it up a little bit. You can only unlock the next 5 tracks if you get gold in the 5 prior. And I finally unlocked the last 5 of the 25, and they are hard. Usually you can beat them all pretty in a decent amount of time. These have been much more difficult, so it's been a nice little challenge. Outside of that, I can't remember if I
Have there
Did
been
I
any
see
like
it?
new I know sometimes they release like new effects or new like
You
track
know
types
what
or new
is plastic?
they release plastic?
There's a surface called plastic.
Oh no.
What does that do?
Um,
Is it like
it's very
sticky?
different friction. It's very different friction. Yeah, you have to get used to the friction. It's a little bit more slippery, so you don't burn the rubber as much, which is interesting. This one's not super
Interesting.
new, but it's new-ish to me, which is I think it's like magnet. There's like a
That's
magnetic
pretty. Yeah, that's
one.
pretty.
There's a lot of intricate things. The hardest thing for me to learn lately is bobsled tracks. So it took a while for me to figure out how to drive on ice, which is very interesting because you have to
Bobsled, because
basically
you-
drive sideways.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, I think I
but
saw this.
bobsled, yeah. The bobsled tracks are really cool, but you have to hit the corners perfectly. Otherwise, just like a bobsled, you die. You're done. It's over.
Peace out.
Give up.
Just dies.
You know?
Oh my god, that's so good.
It's nuts. So
Crazy.
Pretty cool. Okay.
it is cool. And unfortunately, that's the next track that I have to try to get gold on. Right now, I'm on a track that I've gotten silver on, the 21st track, and it's all about nailing these like tiny little intricate movements on a normal track ish. I mean, there's no such thing as a normal track with these, though. When I find one, I love it. There's been a track a few seasons ago, I can't remember if it was a track of the day or not, but it was a 2-lapper, and it was incredible. Yeah, most tracks are just 1 lap best time, but it's very interesting when they do a circuit, because you come through it so much faster the second time at full speed, and it really changes at least a portion of the track depending on how it's designed. So it's very neat. Um, did I play Sea of Thieves last time we talked? I don't actually think I haven't had a chance to play Sea of Thieves.
I don't think you did. Yeah.
No.
Oh, I got to play Sea of Thieves not too long ago.
Always
with
fun.
my sister.
Yeah.
That was incredible because we were on a 3-person ship, and her husband couldn't get his Xbox to work, so he never showed up. So we're trying to man this much harder to man ship as 2 people, and we end up in quite the predicament with many other ships, and we're trying to win this Fort of Fortune, and we're dying over and over again. But since we're in the big ship, we get to drive back real fast. Eventually, we're like, we've had fun, but I think we're gonna give up.
Okay.
And then we're already like right there next to him again. We're like, why don't we just like swim over and see what happens? We're like, okay, let's shoot out of the cannon. We go in the cannon, and immediately there's 2 sharks attacking my sister. Like, what the fuck? I try to save her. We both die. Go again. Immediately, 2 more sharks attacking. We're like, what the hell's going on?
So
meanwhile, we didn't know that the game's kind of broken, where apparently you step foot on an island and just 20 PvE things occur. So similarly, you hop into the water and suddenly all the sharks are there.
That's awesome.
So last ditch effort, we're like, let's just ram them. Okay, we gotta sink this boat, and we're gonna go to bed. And somehow, this is one of the times where me and my sister both really wish we were recording. At one point, she's literally hiding, tucked in the water on the beach, and they're swimming past her. At one point, they are in a rowboat leaving the fort with a chest, with the key to the fort in the rowboat. Why didn't they open it? I don't know. Killed them somehow. I'm in the rowboat. I go back and I open the fort. And then I swim off. Meanwhile, somehow Amber gets in that rowboat, that same rowboat. She's moving around. There's boats all over her. There are tryhards. My sister is new to video games. There are tryhards all over the place. She's in a rowboat. I'm swimming away to this little outpost where people like to fish. I get there. 15 seconds later, Amber shows up in the rowboat, picks me up, we start heading out to a new place to sell, an outpost, and not 20 seconds after we leave this tiny little fishery, a sloop and a brig that were fighting us and fighting for it show up like they knew where we were.
Oh,
it
Jesus.
was so hectic.
Wow.
And in the end,
we
got the most valuable thing. We won. And I think it's all because we gave up.
Wow.
Is this all just like a long story to be like,
Man.
and guys, just give up, and eventually everything works out.
If you don't care, you'll win.
I mean, yeah. I have found that is often the case in Sea of Thieves. Perseverance in that game can make the difference.
Listeners, I fucking hate Sea of Thieves. Just make it very clear. Nat is not a fan of
not your game.
Not my game. So when I hear this story, I'm like, this all sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
I don't think it's that bad.
It's not that bad, but at the same time, I'm salty about it.
Understandable. Understand. There can be a lot of griefing in that game. There can be a lot of BS little things that can occur. But there can also be some awesome stories out of it. I can
imagine.
The best way to play it is not to care in a way. Like all you want is a funny, crazy adventure that you have no idea what's going to happen and you're going to goof off. Literally, you don't go for the objective. You go for what do I think would be funny here? Like what's going to give me a good time? I want to mess with this person, like it's a sandbox really. So if you're going after just the objective, well, you're not going to
wrong.
Yeah.
You're not going to have fun.
I do feel like that's the case because like that game just turns into, if you're just doing objectives and just trying to progress as the game has designed its progression system, then in essence, you're just grinding the same BS over and over again. And at the end of the day, what happens is that people take your time. Like that's how that's how you'll internalize it. I'm trying to do objectives 1 through 20. And once I do 20 objectives, I have completed what I needed to do. Each objective takes X amount of time. And one person can come and make one of those objectives take 20 times longer. And if you look at the game in that perspective, you're going to be kind of miserable, right? Because essentially you're like, oh, I just wanted to do my objectives and play for 4 hours. And somebody came and just ruined my day because now I've completed no objectives and done nothing from a progression perspective. And if you look at the game in that respect, I don't think that game's for you. That's like, you're just not going to be able to look past that.
No.
But I think like Anthony said, but I think like Anthony said, if you can just go into it as an adventure where you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do or what's going to happen. And I'm just going to have fun with it and try to do like wacky scenarios. Man, some absolute craziness can occur. And I think
believe it.
Those situations can be fun.
You have to have a mic and hope that the people you play against that you meet on the sea also have a mic and use it. Because that mic save lives. And they also create chaos.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting. Okay. See if
but outside of that,
you played that. Okay.
I played a tiny bit, and I'll play a good bit more of Hogwarts Legacy. That's that time of year for me. I like the Harry Potter stuff when it comes to the, fall, winter time.
The universal pumpkin spice of humanity.
It really is. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah, and I just love how that game really makes you like. I was listening to the book to like fall asleep lately. And I'm in like book 5 where Ron becomes a prefect, and he's like super excited because his mom's gonna buy him his like first new broom. And I was like, man, I want to go play this game and go get a broom. And so I did that, and they just do such a great job of making you feel like you're
in the class. That's what I've heard too. I'm excited to play it. I don't know when I'm gonna be in like the mood to play it, but I have been wanting to like sit down and enjoy that game for all it's worth. for sure.
Yeah, it's really neat because especially like when Sirius is talking in the fifth book or someone and he's like, yeah, my great grandfather or something like that was like the least popular headmaster in Hogwarts history. And I was like, oh yeah, that guy's a dickhead. He's literally in Hogwarts Legacy. Fuck that guy.
Nice.
It's great. And it's so good. So I'm looking forward to just kind of relaxing with that game a little bit more. And then the last game I've played, and I don't even know if I want to play it more, which is gonna stir the pot a little bit, but I'm definitely interested in giving it a shot when I have time, is Starfield.
Oh man, I have thoughts, opinions, and all types of talks about that one.
Keep it really short and pass on the torch. I'm gonna give it a shot, but I can't. It's so weird to me that I can't truly fly my ship.
You are not gonna like that game.
Yeah,
I already know this. Yeah. That is not the game for you. It is not a space game. I'll go. Nat, would you like to go before I spiel?
Yep.
Eric, you've come so far. You're like, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right here.
Oh yeah, no, I'm about to take the rest of the podcast. Please, Nat.
Okay,
tell me, what have you been a purveyor of in the last few weeks?
So I'm currently going through the process of changing careers. So I don't exactly have a lot of free time to really do a lot of gaming. So I'll just be honest, I haven't really been able to do a lot. However, yeah, baby.
Yeah, while he's talking to his wife, I will say I have also been in a similar situation. I've moved, and moving has taken up so much time that those games that I played, it's 1/100th of how much I used to play games.
So the games that I have been able to play are the ones that I played previously. So I had Hollow Knight. I got to a point where in the game where my skill level has not reached back to where I was before when I played it. So I am now running into situations where I'm having to relearn how the game will punish you. Recently, I don't know if you guys remember it, it's the Watcher Knight. And it's the one where it starts as one beetle and it turns into two, and you have to fight two at the same time.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to tell you before it gets dark.
Double beetle.
What's up?
I think I tried to play Hollow Knight and I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah. Okay.
It was
yeah. It's okay.
It kind of reminded me of Ori, but it didn't captivate me like Ori did, and so I just stopped playing.
Here's the way I would describe these two experiences. I think at the end of the game, they are both very, very good in their own rights, and they're both very, very fun, and they are mechanically, they have some few differences, but I think in the end, they'll pull in the same strings mechanically.
Yes.
But Hollow Knight, they reward you in two very different ways. Ori rewards you equally with little tidbits, and it gives them to you. And it says, here's the next thing. And you get there and it rewards you. And it keeps giving you the reward and giving you the reward. Hollow Knight.
It's a good drug dealer.
Yes.
It's a good drug
100%.
I mean, right.
It's
Hollow
a
Knight,
really good one.
In the opposite end of the spectrum, says there are no rewards. But the more you look, the more you find satisfying rewards. And the more you look, it's like Ori has a linear effort.
You're saying that Hollow Knight is like real life. It's going to beat the shit out of you, but keep going.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. What I'm really saying is like, the best way I can put this is to play through Hollow Knight until you get a credits screen. And then go look at how much percentage-wise you've actually done in the game. And I guarantee you, the more and closer you get to 100%, the more exponentially you will fall in love with that game.
True.
And I think at the end, you'll love it about as much as Ori. Like, it just goes like this, right? Ori gives you an equal amount, and it's linear. And at the end, they're very similar in where they end up in an enjoyment and
no pulse,
reward.
Yeah.
I think you can argue.
I'm comparing it more so to like the notes that we kind of gave to the whiskey. Like, there's no pulse to it. I think Hollow Knight is very much like a very, very deeply characterized whiskey. There is multiple levels of your progress through it. There is a valley that you fall into, and then there's an immediate spike afterwards. Like whenever you have the Lost Kin fight. The initial fight, you go ahead, you get stuck for a little bit, but you get through it. Then you get to the dream state of that same fight, and you are stuck. You do not move. You just fall down this pit of despair. You're like, I just beat this thing. What do you mean I can't go ahead and move past?
But even then, and you can kind of understand this. Think about the base ending of the game and what it means, and the true ending of that game and what it means.
Yeah.
And the difference in feeling of when you get to that true ending and what it means to you as the player of what you just did, right?
It's huge.
It's huge, right? Ori doesn't have that difference. It doesn't have the lock and key feeling. It doesn't feel like you had this door, you unlocked it through your own means and got the prize, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have this mystery to it. And
is Hollow Knight at all like Sekiro?
It is a lot like Sekiro or Dark Souls or
Bloodborne. Like that. Yeah.
The only it's more like that type of game than it is a story game like Ori. They just happen to share the same type of 2D platforming experience.
Same, it's like two sides of the same coin in terms of just like palette and feel.
Yeah.
But on one side, you have the roguelike experience, which is Hollow Knight, and it is drag down, punch out. No, sorry, not even drag down, punch out. It's just drag down, technically intensive. Yeah. And I love it. It's so good when you get to the point when you start styling on bosses pretty much like from jump, because you already like, no, I control the center ground and you're gonna have to either approach me or I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And that's it. That level of mastery for the game is great, and then it immediately humbles you a lot. Like how From Software will be like, oh yeah, these tiny little bosses, these tiny little minions that you're getting through, yeah, that's real cute. Why don't you go out into this field? A lot of these people are just sitting around. Let's drop a dragon on you.
I think another good thing to put in is Ori. I think if I remember correctly, Ori 1 takes like 6 hours, 7 hours to beat.
Most.
And like Ori 2, I think takes about 12 hours.
A little bit longer, yeah.
If you were to take that same amount of time and put it into Hollow Knight, I think at the end of that 12 hour, let's put it to 12 hours. You would spend 12 hours in Hollow Knight and stop playing. I think your experience of Hollow Knight, you're going to think about it as a worse game than Ori or Ori 2.
Absolutely.
Because it hasn't paid off yet. Yeah. It's got this investment mechanic in it, in that once you invest enough time in it, it pays back exponentially.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
But until you get to a certain point, you don't know that. And there's no way for you to figure that out without putting a little extra legwork. And that's why I think the Hollow Knight community is it's not really niche anymore, because enough people have fallen in love with it that they've convinced the greater majority to also fall in love with it.
Yeah.
That it's good. But I definitely think at the beginning it was very niche because not enough people would spend enough time in it. It's kind of like I'm gonna spoil a little bit of like Castlevania, Symphony of the Night and stuff like that. But Castlevania, back in the day, you could play the entire game, and if you didn't do a very certain set of events,
you didn't get the other half of the game, dude.
You missed the good part of the game. And I'm not talking like you missed like half of the game, because it's not even about that.
Like that. No,
you missed all of the good points of that game.
Yeah,
like all of them. And guess what? There were no guides. There were guides, but like nobody got the guides. Nobody was online. This was like not internet age. So you could talk to probably 90% of the people that played through the entirety of that game, and they didn't see the good parts of the game.
Their castle never flipped over.
Yeah. Essentially, you had to do like a special item, do special bosses, do this special set of things, and you would literally unlock the castle. Like the whole castle, the whole thing, the whole point of the game. And you could beat the game and get a credit scene without ever experiencing that castle.
True. And I think Hollow Knight is pretty much like, I feel like the comparison is very fair to say that Hollow Knight is like Castlevania with bugs.
They did that entirely. I mean, that was 100%. They wanted that style of game. It is a Castlevania, Metroidvania game.
Yeah. And I'm at the point now where I have beaten this game before, but I did not beat it during the times where the expansions were out. So I'm coming in. I've beaten it, but I've never done the circus. I've never done I've never done the Pale Kingdom or anything like that. Like I haven't gotten to those things yet. So
do you know how to get them?
I know how to get them. I know that I have to, I know that like after a credit screen I should be able to go ahead and access a lot more, because I know right now I can't access anything. There's nothing from the expansions that's available at this level of the save.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to go ahead and get further into that game. But there's a level of playability that, sorry, not even playability. There's a level of fatigue that comes with that game that I'm just not able to recharge from yet. For me personally, just because if I'm stuck on a boss for like an entire night, I'm throwing a controller through a screen. like I'm
it has that Dark Souls frustration element to it.
Absolutely. And it's brilliant because it gets you back to the game. Like I thought about it as I was driving home today. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to play this goddamn fucking game.
And that's how it gets you.
I love it. It's so good.
It is a very good game.
Yeah.
What's interesting is you just remind me of playing Trackmania, where it's like the boss is the track, and it's like fuck that. Like I can't. Like
But you keep like coming back, dude.
Yeah, and you get that one part that you've been getting wrong right, and then you get the part that you usually get wrong, and you still lose.
I think if you aren't getting a little bit frustrated with your game, then you're not going to get the payoff that you really want.
Right.
Even if you don't like the frustration in the moment, I do feel like, at least for me, that's a necessary part of the game, because once you overcome that frustration and complete the thing, it's so much more satisfying.
Fair. Absolutely. So I have been playing. I was gonna play Hollow Knight probably later on tonight. I'm not sure if I will be, because I don't know if I'll be up after doing this workout. But I will say that I have been playing with the idea of playing Wild Frost. Have either of you played Wild Frost?
Wild Frost. I have almost played it multiple times, but I have not yet.
Let me tell you, if there was ever a From Software game that was a card game, it is Wild Frost. It will fuck you up. Let me be very clear. There are times that I've played this game, and I've beaten this game before. Like I've gotten to the end and like gotten the ending that you're supposed to get for the very first half of the game or whatever. I have done this 4 or 5 times. There are still times where I go through the game and get cut and swept in 3 or 4 encounters.
Oh, wow.
I get to the boss of the first half of the game. There are like, I think there's 4 or 5 bosses. First boss, I'm out. I restart and I start from the very beginning again.
Oof.
When I tell you, I'm not stupid, I promise you. But this game will try you. So
they'll kick your butt.
approach this game with caution because one, is addictive. The artwork's cute. The game system is very intriguing. There's a lot of combos that appear immediately very overpowered, and then you start getting into the things that the game can throw back at you, and you're like, oh, I ain't shit. The things that they can put on their end are stupid nutty. And the amount of pivot that you have to have in your deck already built in is very, very enticing. That being said, I give you warning. If you pick up this game, understand that you will probably get your ass kicked in the first like 10, 15, 20 times that you play it.
How does it compare to Slay the Spire?
I would say this is harder than Slay the Spire.
Have you been able to play Across the Obelisk yet?
I have not been able to play Across the Obelisk. No. Yeah. I will definitely give those a shot, but with my experience with Wild Frost, again, I haven't picked this thing up in a bit, and apparently there was a release that came out recently that eased the difficulty a little bit. So you guys might have a better time with it than I did. I know I started playing it around maybe April or May, and I fell asleep with the Switch on my face. Like, I couldn't stop. But every single time I started playing, I was like, why am I still up playing this game that wants to just kick my teeth in? What is going on? So if you guys want a little bit of masochism in your life, pick up Wild Frost.
Okay. Was that it? Are those your games?
I mean, that's my game. Like, I haven't been able to touch Baldur's Gate 3 in a while because it's an investment that I cannot do right now. If I start playing, I'm going to finish. And if I finish, I'm not going to work, y'all. I'm not going. I'm just going to put in my time and say, for the next 3 days, I'm in this chair. Give me an adult diaper. We're getting through this thing.
You know what's weird about Baldur's Gate? I think it's a solo game first, and then a multiplayer game.
Absolutely, 100%.
For those
of you guys who keep on inviting your friends to these multiplayer games with the assumption that you're gonna play through the campaign, bullshit. Don't do it. No. Don't do it. Just go ahead and play the game exactly how it's meant to be played, which is solo the first time. Because the amount of times I've been invited to a game.
I have figured out, and I have quite a number. Is this segueing into me a little bit? Because I'll probably cover it.
Yes, this is. Yes,
I have played a significant amount of Baldur's Gate 3 now.
How many hours are you in, Eric?
I think I'm over 120 or so now.
Yeah, that's about right. He's sick.
I will say it is definitely, so this game is right up my alley. I love I love the originals. I love 1 and 2. I played all the
Pillars of
Divinity Original Sin. I played all Pillars of Eternity. I had played the old what's it called? I played all the Dragon's Age games. Like, I love this style of game. I always have. Baldur's Gate 3 is a godsend. I love this game.
It's quintessential, man.
It is so amazing. Every single campaign I've done has felt so different. My first campaign, I swear I had the craziest shit happen. I actually had a case that I guarantee they did not expect anybody to get, because I started getting voice lines and people just flat out forgot that shit occurred. And like shit went down. Just saying. And obviously they weren't ready for it. Yeah.
No spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything. I will say that as a multiplayer game, it's wonderful. But you need to play it solo first. And I feel that way because I think the multiplayer experience is amazing. But the way you have to play it is by being a dick to your friends.
Yes.
Because you essentially have to go talk to people, and then 20 hours later when somebody references something and they're like,
what is he talking about?
What is he talking about? You're like, I was talking to that guy, in the beginning town, and I screwed with him. So now he hates us. right? Like,
dick off.
yeah, like you have to play it that way, because until they have the experience for multiplayer down such that you can have a join automatically type of experience. But not everybody wants to play that way. And I think it's going to be really hard to do because of what you're able to do during dialogue options.
Yeah.
And I think
since they have the like make this a private conversation button, it's like they're saying be a dick to your friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Whether
That's
it's romantically
exactly
or like or dastardly.
Can
like,
both of you romance Gale, or can you not? Like, let's find out, you know?
Like, Gale's a slut, you know he would.
Oh yeah. Who gets to have sex with the bear? I don't know, but we need to find out who wins this battle.
Absolutely.
Right.
So
and
go ahead.
I was just going to say, Baldur's Gate 3 is unbelievable. The story is great. A lot of people have talked about some weakness in the later act. I think that's unwarranted. I understand what they're saying. Okay. I empathize with their thoughts on it, but I think it doesn't detract from the experience enough for it to be an issue
at all, honestly. Yeah. Because I mean, like, if you think about a campaign at that point, if you're looking at D&D at that point in time,
everything rolls so quickly.
You're not going to run into situations where you can go ahead and go, like, theoretically, let's say that you're going into like some form of castle and you want to approach it at some like wingding, like I'm going to go through the sewers and put on a hat and sit up against this wall, and it's going to go ahead and get past this guard or whatever. That's not what happens at late level.
But that's not even it, though, because I think you can do that exact scenario.
No, I'm saying it's more so crazy. Like, people are wanting to have like reactions. They want voice lines from that, or they want to go ahead and see further fruition of like people already knowing what players are going to be doing and putting things in place to go ahead and give them that I'm on the same level. I'm on the same page as you. This is great. Keep going.
Yeah,
you're not going to get that at all times.
I think there is going to be an expansion that shows us the upper city. And that'll be amazing. 10 out of it is one of the few. It is definitely on my top 5 list of all time.
Just go ahead and say it's your number one. It's okay, Eric. You could say it.
I don't think it's my number one still.
You're a slut. Okay.
I just
D&D.
What was that?
Number one D&D like video game?
Yeah, it definitely,
absolutely,
for sure. I don't think anything's done as good a job of representing what D&D is in a game, and this did a phenomenal job.
Did you all hear that stuff about supposed devs complaining that since Baldur's Gate 3 is so great that it's going to make all of the gamers just expect so much more out of every game that comes out, and there's just unrealistic expectations?
Can I take this one, Eric? Can I say exactly what we're all going to go ahead and say for this one, just real quick, so
I
can
summarize?
Go for it. Okay, so to those who are saying that this is going to set a new precedent and it's just not healthy, what is not healthy is the current culture of putting out games. Your game you can do early access and just be like fully upfront about it, but if you're asking for $60, $70 up front, I think we should be able to expect a level of greatness close to Larry. I'm not saying that this is not this is not a flash in the pan. This is incredible. Like, this is something that's groundbreaking for the entire franchise and that style of game. Yeah. But there's no reason why a game should release to a fraction of this. Like, you can get close at least, but like if you're looking at the bottom, like if you have half of the content that Baldur's Gate has and you're still asking for the same amount of money, there's a problem with your end. I guess your means to an end, where the person who is imbibing your content should feel as if they're satisfied with what they picked up. They shouldn't ever,
I think it so merely boils down to that. Like, your time is valuable. And to say that any amount of good quality anything is going to make it more difficult for somebody to take away your time is a ridiculous statement.
There's also, so I want to chime in from a computer science perspective, since that's what I majored in. The way Baldur's Gate 3 is made, that game is simpler in certain aspects than other games. So like Star Citizen, as a technological thing to produce, is so much more complex. So with Baldur's Gate 3, they're able to refine certain things and have them very reliable, and then spend so much time on giving you content, right? While on the opposite end of the spectrum, Star Citizen is trying to deliver you an experience you cannot have in any other game, because no one is crazy enough to spend the amount of time developing complex systems that you don't get to see, you just get to experience, and then there's no content.
Right.
So it's like Baldur's Gate 3 is more fun because there's more content, and then it's like, but Star Citizen's like real life. Hello, and it's like, yeah, it's hard to code real life. That project will never be done. So we'll play Star Citizen 2069. GG.
If I was going to say anything, if you were going to add to that, I mean, look at No Man's Sky. It's pretty much the exact. It is Starfield with obviously some very key differences. I am not saying that No Man's Sky is the upgraded version of Starfield by any means. However, I am saying No Man's Sky released in a very decrepit state.
Yeah.
But the content made it something whole and new, to the point now where you have a current game that has come out, Starfield, that is being compared against No Man's Sky, a game that came out how many years ago, and is honestly in my opinion, kicking its ass.
So let me segue into Starfield a little bit. So I have I also have over 100 hours in Starfield,
dude.
So
I need to start working from home. Jeez.
Oh man,
yeah.
So
that's your priority.
So
oh my god.
I want to start off by saying that Starfield is an amazing game. I really, really enjoy Starfield. But man, they fucked up the marketing.
Yeah, buddy.
It is not a space game. It's not a space exploration game. If you were to watch that trailer
at the very beginning, that first one,
no, even the most recent one.
Okay.
When before release, they were selling Starfield, and when they had this whole idea, right? And they put it into trailer form. I feel like they really did this selling of a space exploration game.
Absolutely.
And when I think space exploration game, I dream of this idealistic, fun Star Citizen-esque, where I think Star Citizen is too close to the emulation for me to have fun with it right now. Maybe they'll get there and they'll add the fun mechanics, but too much on the emulation side. And then you have No Man's Sky, which said we're only space exploration, and the fun aspects of it all deal with exploration, which
absolutely
I totally see as a really cool thing. It isn't quite my style of game, but it's doing a really great job of that. And Starfield, which is Skyrim in 2023.
Yes.
I loved Skyrim. The Elder Scrolls games are some of my favorite games of all time. I have thousands of hours in all the Elder Scrolls games, and Starfield might as well be the Elder Scrolls a few thousand years in the future.
Pretty much.
And if you play it like an Elder Scrolls game, it's actually really, really fun. I mean, the combat's infinitely better than anything that Oblivion,
put out in a while. Yeah.
Elder Scrolls, it's better than anything Fallout has ever done. The combat's really, really fun. It's more first-person shooter-esque, but it still has RPG mechanics. The planets are if you were to just look at the points of interest on the planets that you go to, really, really cool designs, really interesting. And while I think they have all of these awesome alien designs, and it's really depressing that most of your interactions are with humans, the story itself is really, really cool. And if you look at it from that perspective of like when I was playing Elder Scrolls and going through Oblivion, and I was like, man, I really want to do the Mages Guild, and I really want to do this guild, and I want to do that guild, and I want to do all their quests and see the storylines, and all the storylines are really interesting, and there's like political intrigue quest lines, and there's assassin quest lines and thieving quest lines. Starfield has all of that. It has every piece of that. And all of them are really good.
But
I don't even know if there is a but. The game is good. It just isn't what they sold it as.
And it's not finished.
Answer me this.
I disagree. Why do you think it's not finished?
Oh wait, no, go ahead, Anthony. I'll say why I say it's not finished.
Because I got this feeling. Is the game kind of like reading a book?
No.
But experiencing it. Because I get the impression that I would enjoy the game better if I was in the mood to like read a story, experience a story.
A story would imply that it's somewhat linear.
Yeah,
you can really lose yourself, and from what I've seen, you can lose yourself in the side quests and like all the things that you can do on a planet.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it has the linearity of something like a story. I think if you just did the main story, you would actually be doing a disservice to that game, mostly because the world and interacting with the different planets and exploring is actually really, really cool. There are entire quest lines and things that are really interesting that I have unearthed by exploring points of interest. I think the biggest problem with that game is people wanted a space exploration where they go to a planet and it's a planet.
Yeah.
And it isn't that. It's a series of points of interest.
It's biomes.
Yeah, with randomly generated areas around it. Because the game isn't designed to be a planet that you can explore. It's designed to have a point of interest. You're exploring space and a giant set of points of interest. You're not exploring planets. And that's very, those are very different things. And here's the thing. If they didn't sell it, if they didn't market it, if the trailer didn't look like it does, and instead they said, they focused, here's what I would have loved. If the trailer had focused on the story and given you this aspiration that you're getting Skyrim in space, I don't think people would be upset with this game.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
With that comparison to Skyrim, the reason why I say this game is not finished is because, yes, game is incredible. There are aspects to it that are very lush and detailed in the terms of like being able to go to a multitude of places within one biome. Fair. What I would have loved to have seen was them to go ahead and do what Zelda did in a way with Tears of the Kingdom. They took the base game, which would have been Skyrim in this case, right? And added 2 layers above and below it to go ahead and create the idea that you're exploring more.
But I feel like they did that.
I would have loved, though, that this upper level that they would have created for Starfield would have allowed you to be able to explore something that's not terrestrial. but astral, in the sense that like you go to planets where you have a biome, but if you take this rocket up, you're going to a moon that is different gravity, different stuff, and you're there only for a set number of time before the elevator goes down or something like that. It's just an example, but what I wanted to see was them take, because what you're telling me right now is basically like the idea that they said was, let's make Skyrim in space, right? I don't feel like they took the idea of being Skyrim in space and fully delivered on the space aspect. They delivered on the Skyrim aspect where they were creating a game that's interesting and engrossing whenever you get into the side quests and the actual story itself. But I don't get space from this, at all.
I feel like I may have misrepresented it then, because I feel like they did a pretty good job on the interaction with space, but they didn't do an interaction of freedom in a universe, right? Like they have all this cool aspects of interacting with different ships, interacting with different gravities. Different biomes have different effects on you. Different interactions inside of space feel really nice, I feel.
Yeah.
The problem comes when you want a game like No Man's Sky or Star Citizen, where I fly into a planet and there's a planet. Like there's an entire planet, because that just isn't what the game is. Every planet has some small number of points of interest, and those points of interest are the interesting things on that planet, and anything outside of those is not interesting on that planet and has no need for you to ever go or be a part of it or look at it or do anything with it. And if you play the game normally, like you'll never even run into that issue. But if you wanted something like Star Citizen or No Man's Sky, this isn't the game for you. It's not this game.
Go ahead.
New question.
Yeah.
New question. Okay. Along the same lines of the book thing, but I didn't put it quite right. Basically, if you were to, read Harry Potter and you love Harry Potter and the universe that is Harry Potter, and Bethesda made a Harry Potter game,
I'd love it.
Is that kind of what a Skyrim or a Starfield game is, where you're not in the mood to read a book, but you're in the mood to be in the universe that surrounds that book? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
The genre. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think Starfield does a wonderful job of exactly what you're talking about, where if Starfield had a series of books and you loved them, this just gives you more of those feelings and interesting lore and like all these cool different things about the Starfield universe that you get to embrace and like engage in. Like, and it does a great job with that.
If you're in like a medieval mood, you really want dragons and fantasy stuff, you go play Skyrim, because then you feel like you're there, you're in that world, immersed. You can do whatever the fuck you want, but if you follow like a quest line to its completion, it's almost like reading a short story, but actually experiencing that short story.
Yeah. I think it's a lot like that type of feeling, except in a sci-fi book series.
Venue. Yeah. The only thing that I would say that contends with that idea is that there is a certain amount of sci-fi or spacefaring anything that is kind of lockstep in the idea that you're doing frontier work in actual space. Like you're in space, like discovering stuff and going from place to place in a spaceship, and you are the pilot of your own destiny, if that makes any sense.
And you have that to some degree.
And you have that to some degree, but there is
and the shipbuilder mechanic is the best that's ever been done, I think. Like, arguably, the shipbuilder mechanic might be the most innovative piece of that entire game to me. Like it's really well done.
The only thing that I have to say about that is, and this is something that for me is the reason why I won't really be diving too far into Starfield. The one thing that always had kind of pulls at me for sci-fi stuff like this is the starfaring part of it. And I recently read an article about what's coming to No Man's Sky, where you're pretty much running the trench run in Star Wars to blow up something. And the idea of you being a small fish in a very large pond, making big things happen.
Agreed.
It doesn't differentiate from what I would have done in Skyrim versus Starfield. Yeah. They kind of share the same space, and I would have liked a little bit more delineation in the sense that you are able to explore a little bit more in that aspect.
I entirely empathize with that, and I think that's a problem of the marketing. Like they marketed it as this style of game you're talking about, but it's not that style of game. It's more like what Anthony's talking about. It is this world that you would get to engross yourself in that has this science fiction backdrop and a great deal of freedom inside of it.
I would say this is go ahead.
We have had decades of people watching Star Trek and other shows as well, but especially Star Trek. And so there's this cultural desire for something like No Man's Sky or Star Citizen to fully deliver that sort of thing that you've been watching forever. And that's what people want. And so they're like, space game, I know what I want. And then you give them Skyrim in space, and they're like, what the fuck is that? That's bad. What are you doing?
I really don't understand. Yeah. Here's what I do have to say, Nat. And I think this is a bad argument for Starfield being a good game. I'll go out and put that on record.
Okay.
But man, am I excited for mods in Starfield to do crazy things, because that's something that Star Citizen and No Man's Sky simply do not have. And the mods, or mod support tools. Bethesda has designed their engine from the ground up with being able to support that, and they're releasing the mod tools next year. And when that happens,
it's going to be like open season. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we all forget it's a $10 game.
It will be.
It will be.
Right now. I played this game for $10. I played Starfield for $10 because it's on Game Pass.
Oh yeah, because it's part of Microsoft. Yeah. And
you cannot play a better game for $10.
I 100% agree with that. Like if you're talking about $10 worth of content, like here's my argument. Think about how good Skyrim was and still is in the eyes of the community. I am not saying that Starfield will replace that, but it is that style of game. It will be getting mod support, and it will be cheap at some point in time. And for the amount of content that you will get, and even if you just play through it purely for the main story, I think you will get enough enjoyment out of it that'll be worth it. It really is great in that perspective.
Oh man. So not to go on a tangent here, I do want to go ahead and keep on going where we're going. I saw the sickest mod for Skyrim. It is like, I can't believe that they are still pushing this game as far as it is. It is disgusting. It is so cool. It's almost For Honor-esque, where you can kind of tool out your character to have a certain like move set, and it feels almost as if you're playing a mashup between For Honor and Ghost of Tsushima. It's cool. It looks really cool. It's a little like speed blurry, where like if you kind of like change focus, there's a lot of blurs going on, but I can't believe that's the same game.
I mean,
it's like I cannot believe that the mod community is that freaking hungry for Bethesda stuff.
well,
it's insane.
look at Skywind, my dude.
Skyrim?
No, Skywind is a mod project where a community group has gone through and recreated the entirety of Morrowind in the Skyrim engine.
Whoa.
The entire game. They have recreated the game.
Disgusting.
Right? Disgusting. It is insane and so cool. And like people, like a lot of people, I know I hear people like Asmongold and a few others that I listen to, and they're like, I'm not in it for the mods. I don't do it. The mods are all like, you're just getting nudie mods and bullshit, right? And
any viewers that are kind of like me are like, oh, I wonder what the Skyrim mods are like. Don't click most popular for the past 30 days like I did.
Yeah. Like, I am not saying that those don't exist, because they do. But then you have amazing projects like Skywind and entire combat overalls. There's already a modder for Starfield who has gone and tried to create something like Tarkov combat in the engine.
Can you imagine?
Right?
Oh god, yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
They're already trying to improve the FPS, make it more realism. They're already trying to improve different aspects of it, and they don't even have mod tools yet.
They need to fix them faces.
Right? Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's pretty fucking goofy. That's what it is.
Weird is as a Star Citizen fan, I just wish if a mod comes out, or two mods, one, I want to take off and land manually, and if I blow up, I blow up. That's awesome. That's in my opinion.
That's wonderful.
And two, if I blow up, I want to start fucking over. If I don't have insurance on that ship,
hardcore mode.
I'm pretty sure there's a mod for you for that.
There will be.
Guarantee you that it's not going to make it into the base game.
100%.
100%.
But I do. 100%. But I mean, here's the thing. Here's the coolest part about Starfield is that with mod support, you're going to see a lot of these style of things where I truly believe the base Starfield is a good enough game that with a little bit of mod support, it can be whatever game you, the listener, wants it to be.
Fair.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. And that is really cool.
I like to think of it as that it's the possibility for Starfield to be Cyberpunk like 2.0 in terms of just like the depth of story as well as the various locations. I mean, the comparison can be made that like you have, oh god, what's the name of the city from Cyberpunk? New something city. Anyway, the city from Cyberpunk, if you can say that's one place, I feel like
Night City,
thank you. There is enough content and groundswell from the modders to create a situation where there are multiple night cities that are contained within Starfield.
100%. I definitely, I am going to go back and revisit Cyberpunk for the 2.0. Yeah, I know. I'm excited for that. So
I mean, there's nothing like watching Cyberpunk Edgerunners and then playing Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
buddy.
Talk about reading a book or watching a movie and then going into the universe yourself. Like that.
Really cool.
So amazing. I really wish that League of Legends was a similar situation where you could watch Arcane and then go into that world, but there's no like League of Legends MMO. There's just League of Legends Arena, you know.
I will say though, there's a fair amount of story within the card game. If you want to go ahead and keep up, like they go into a fair amount. Like one of the new characters, Nyla, she's apparently going to the Freljord to fight the Volibear, the god himself. It's it's cool. Like there's a guy I follow called Necrit on YouTube, and he does like lore breakdowns of the packs that get released and kind of shows you what the world of Runeterra is like really actually feeding. And I get now why Riot stopped putting out like story blurbs and stuff for their content, because they put it all into their card game.
Yeah.
It's all in there.
Dude, I just want like what? Who makes Skyrim and
Bethesda.
I just want, you know, a future where Bethesda has grown to where people are just like, can you just make a universe of our game where people can just be in it for like every type of thing, for League of Legends, for Cyberpunk, for Harry Potter, for you know, anything. They're just like, yeah, we know how to do that.
Yeah.
Eventually. Well, quick question before we go ahead and kind of start wrapping this up. I did want to ask, and if you don't mind, Eric, what is the things that you guys are most excited for going into this next week, next month? Depends on when we do this again. What are the things that you're most excited for coming up in gaming, anime, whatever?
Man, I was super excited for the One Piece live action, which I finished. Very well done.
Okay,
it was good.
Yeah, very good actually.
I heard it. I've heard good things.
Yeah. They did a very very respect the source implementation of One Piece. I think the things they didn't do were very, very reasonable things not to do. I think the few changes they made, they kept in good spirit and made references to it. And I'm excited for season 2, which they have already announced is going to be a thing. So
Oda confirmed it. It's a weird ass self.
As far as games go, I'm excited for more Baldur's Gate. I'm excited.
Oh, you don't have to do multiple subjects. I was going to go ahead more so just to say if there was one thing that you were excited for, like
one
right now,
thing that I'm excited
one
for.
Thing.
Ooh.
I already know mine.
I already know yours, man.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. I now that Starfield and Baldur's Gate are kind of out, like most of the
void.
Yeah, most of the big things for 2023 have kind of like, you know, they've kind of released and come out. I'm really excited. I don't know if it's going to happen in 2023 or when it's going to be a thing. I think the next thing that I'm most excited for, that I know is coming out soon-ish, is probably the adventure mode for Dwarf Fortress.
Oh, okay. Anthony?
So the one thing which I hope isn't a disappointment is going to be Sea of Thieves Season 10.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because that game is so great, yet I feel like the developers don't know what they're doing.
No, they don't, Anthony. You know what? And I'm not going to do that.
It's just like what we've been talking about with Starfield, where, you know, there's a big gaping void of many gamers would love to be a pirate on a ship, and we would love a sandbox of sorts and to go ham. And they just, you know, kind of dropped the ball in a few places, and it would be great if they'd pick it up. So hopefully they pick it up for season 10, and I'm looking forward to finding out whether or not that's the case. But outside of that, you know, I'm just hoping to eventually find my mouse and my gamepad and actually play some games. So, you know, I want to play Baldur's Gate 3. I want to explore Starfield and thank you guys so much for like giving me some insights into it, because now I think I'll better understand the mood I need to be in to enjoy it, because I am someone that enjoys Star Citizen, even though it's not even a game at all. I mean, it's a game in a way, but you know, I like it, but it's more of a spectacle. You know, it's like I get on it and I feel like I'm there and I see cool things, and then I get off. So, yeah. about you, Nick?
Thank God nobody took mine. I am excited for Castlevania to come back.
Oh, the new season of the anime.
Castlevania with what's his name? Which Belmont is it? I don't even remember his name, dude. It's gonna fucking pop the hell. Oh, I'm so fucking stoked. September 28th. Mark your fucking calendars. I will be losing my shit because I remember first watching that series and going like, this is kind of cool. And by the end of like the actual series, I was like, what's the point of life if I can't watch this every single fucking day? Because it's so like the freaking voice acting, the freaking animation.
Yeah, they've done a great job. They've done a great job. You get the rise of Richter Belmont soon.
Yeah. Oh God.
No,
I can't wait to see Richter fuck around and find out, dude.
Dude. Yeah. No, it'll. I'm hoping it'll be pretty good.
It's gonna be fantastic. That's what I'm excited for right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
wrap this.
With that, I was about to say hit him with the socials, but we
don't got any.
no socials yet.
We're not there yet.
Yeah. But we'll get there.
No Patreon, no socials, no bitches, no money.
Throw your money at us any way you can.
Cool. Well, we will see y'all in the next one.
Bye. Have a good day, guys.